Good morning, Gulf Coast. I'm meteorologist Caroline Carithers with the News 5 First Alert Storm Team. Time now about 10:45 on September 25th. So it's Wednesday, and we're talking about now Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene, or Helene itself, has been strengthening over the past day or so, and now it is edging itself into the Gulf of Mexico. It's got max winds at 80 miles per hour. It's picked up a lot of forward speed. It's moving to the north-northwest around 10 miles per hour. So here's the latest track from the National Hurricane Center. Not too much change with this track, maybe just a narrowing of the cone of uncertainty here. But all around thinking is still the same for the News 5 neighborhood. It is expected to become a Category 2 storm pretty quickly here, likely in the evening hours before becoming a Category 3 major hurricane forecast tomorrow morning. Now, as far as the track, we did see maybe a slight westward bump, but all in all, our impacts still looking to be relatively the same. It is forecast to make landfall likely around Apalachicola or eastward of that, east of Panama City, at around 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. That's what the current landfall timing is looking like. It'll weaken pretty quickly as it moves on shore, but because Helene is such a big system, impacts are going to be felt well outside the cone of uncertainty, and that does include our area as well. Now, I wanted to show you the forecast models too. Everything is in pretty good agreement, which is good news. Don't pay attention to those models out there in the western Gulf of Mexico. They are purely statistical models. They don't have any idea what's going on in the atmosphere, actually. We're looking at this tight cluster here, and it's really focused over parts of Apalachicola and then down towards Carabel as well. So really focusing on the western half of the Big Bend of Florida at this time. So we're looking at very tightly clustered forecast models, which is what we like to see. There's a lot of agreement here as far as the forecast goes. Now, as far as storm surge, we're not going to see much of that in the News 5 neighborhood because we'll be on the west side of the storm. Now, we'll be on the west side of the storm, which is typically the dry side, but because Helene is so big, we are going to see some impacts. One of those is not surge, though. That is going to be focused on the east side, up to 6 feet from Panama City to around Apalachicola, and then it goes quickly to 12 feet in the Big Bend area, and then scooting down towards Crystal River in Tampa, goes down to around 12 feet, up to 9 feet in parts of Tampa Bay in those areas. So of course this surge is going to be focused on the east side of the storm, but what can we expect for the west side of the storm, which is what we're going to see? We do actually have a tropical storm warning in place, but it's not for our land areas. It is actually for just our waterways. The hurricane warnings, that's what's in red there, obviously focused to our east where the system is forecast to make landfall. But in our area, we are still going to see some breezy conditions from Helene. So we are going to see tropical storm conditions possible south of northwest Florida. That's where the coastal waters are under that tropical storm warning. There is a tropical storm warning offshore south of the Alabama coastline. That's this area here. So just stay off the water over the next couple of days. Tropical storm conditions are a possibility. Now, as far as on land, it is still going to be breezy, mainly tomorrow. We'll look at wind speeds, but there is a wind advisory in place from around lunchtime tomorrow through Thursday and into Friday morning. Could see some gusts up to around 45 miles per hour, especially near the coast in northwest Florida. And you'll see that here on our forecast model wind gusts. So today, not looking too impressive. We're just going to see maybe some gusts up to 15, 20 miles per hour as we move into the morning hours of tomorrow. We'll see things pick up a bit as Helene gets closer. So we're going to be 25 miles per hour for the most part. As far as tomorrow afternoon, that's when we'll see kind of our peak winds. So that'll be the possible 40 mile per hour wind gusts in northwest Florida. If you are west of Mobile Bay, likely going to sit around 25, 30 miles per hour as far as gusts go. In addition to that, waves, rough surf is really going to be actually one of our major impacts because Helene is so big. It is really turning up the Gulf of Mexico already. So we will start to see that wave height increase as we move throughout the day today, not super significantly until we get to tonight and into tomorrow. Look what happens as Helene gets closer. By tomorrow afternoon, we'll be at 12 to 14 foot waves. So that's offshore. near shore in the surf zone specifically, 6 to 10 foot waves, which is why we are looking at a high surf warning in place from tomorrow morning through noon on Friday. So offshore 10 to 14, close to the coastline 6 to 10 foot breaking waves. Also, of course, a high risk of rip currents is associated with that. As far as rainfall, actually backed off a bit on rainfall potential. It does look like we'll see some dry air move into our area from the west, but east of Mobile Bay, we are looking at 1 to 3 inches of rain possible. Higher values are possible in northwest Florida. The further east you go, if you're west of Mobile Bay, likely about 1/4 of an inch. So not looking at a whole lot as far as rainfall goes. Looking at the News 5 weather predictor here, throughout today, we're actually going to see more showers and thunderstorms develop. So rain chances today are at about 50%, but as Helene approaches moving into tomorrow, of course, most of the rain is going to be focused on the east side of the system and close to that landfalling location, but we could see a couple of those rain bands sneak into the News 5 neighborhood, and we could see some rain in northwest Florida as well. As far as what we're seeing right now, a couple of showers and thunderstorms mainly south and east of I-65. Out of the storms that do occur today, a couple could be on the stronger side. Lightning, thunder, gusty winds. We can't rule out a brief tornado, but most of us are just going to see those gusty winds, maybe some heavy rain as well. Overall, about a 50% chance you need that Green and Phillips umbrella. So looking at your extended forecast here, today, surf is going to build. We'll see a little bit more rain, a little bit breezy. You probably won't notice it. Moving into tomorrow, surf is really rough. We're going to see breezy conditions throughout the day. You will notice that. Rain chances are going to increase. We'll also see the possibility of some coastal flooding. This gets out of here pretty quickly, and then by the time we get to Friday and Saturday, overall looks pretty nice. So for our area, just some indirect impacts from Helene just due to its size and the proximity. It is forecast to pass to our east. However, we will start to see some of those impacts even starting today, like rough surf and increased rain chances. So just be sure that you keep an eye out on the forecast. Any shifts in the track, we'll keep you updated, and we will let you know. Just be sure to tune in to WKRG and stay updated on WKRG.com.